This landmark event, the first Africa Peace Symposium, is the first of its type for the Pan-African Ahmadiyya Muslim Association, PAAMA UK. Its theme is simply unity in diversity. The Peace Symposium will explore how religion unites rather than divides us as a people. It will look at the social, cultural, religious aspects of peace. It will also promote a deeper understanding of Islam and other faiths. It will also seek a concerted effort for lasting peace among the people of Africa.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We will now begin our proceedings with a recitation from the Holy Quran. If I could humbly request our brother Toban Ephraim to do the recitation, please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون واعتصموا بحبل الله جميعا ولا تفرقوا واذكروا نعمة الله عليكم إذ كنتم أعداء فألف بين قلوبكم فأصبحتم بنعمته إخوانا.
I seek refuge of Allah from Shaitan, the accused one. In the name of Allah, the gracious, the merciful. O you who believe, fear Allah as He should be feared, and let not death overtake you except when you are in a state of submission. And hold fast altogether the robe of Allah, and be not divided. And remember the favor of Allah which He bestowed upon you when you were enemies. And He united you, and He united your heart in love, so that by His grace you become as brothers.
We now move on to the welcome address. If I can humbly request our PAAMA United Kingdom President, Tommy Kalun Sahib, to do the welcome address, please.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, most gracious, ever merciful. Most revered National President of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community UK, Lord Ahmad of Wimbledon, Your Excellencies, Your Majesty, members of the diplomatic corps, Your worshipful mayors of Merton and Runnymede, councillors, distinguished guests, ladies, gentlemen, and viewers on live stream, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Peace be unto you with the mercy of Allah and His blessings. It is with immense pleasure and genuine humility that I welcome you to this inaugural Africa Peace Symposium hosted by the Pan-African Ahmadiyya Muslim Association, UK. The Pan-African Ahmadiyya Muslim Association, or PAAMA, as it is known, is a subsidiary association comprising all Ahmadi Muslims of African provenance within the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, a community founded, as we believe, by the promised Messiah of the latter days, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad of Qadian, India, a community that represents the renaissance of the true Islam that was nobly practiced by His Holiness, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. Underpinned by the community's esteemed motto, love for all, hatred for none, PAAMA's mission statement is to unite, empower, and inspire its membership to serve the religion of Islam, the interests of society, and the welfare of Africa. For the members of PAAMA, this mission statement is no credo of convenience. It is the guiding principle which inspires social, moral, and spiritual edification in our members as we strive, committed and unwavering in our lofty ambition of bringing spiritual enlightenment, guidance, and salvation to Africa. It is the guiding principle which motivates us to reinforce righteousness and to promote the virtues of piety, honesty, and integrity among our fellow Africans.
We now have a video presentation on His Holiness, the Khalifa of Islam, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V.
La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah.
Well, I want to express gratitude for the privilege of appearing here in front of Your Holiness and this assemblage. We're really honored you're here. But Your Holiness, I want to thank you for your great leadership, the example and the demonstrated commitment that you've shown to tolerance and to justice and to peace. God bless you and thank you.
Again, it is an honor to welcome you, Your Holiness. And I want to say it's an honor because you are a man, though of humble beginnings, your leadership has made you a figure of global prominence. You started as a teacher, and you have become a guide for millions of Muslims worldwide. Ahmadiyya Muslim community has been a force demonstrating clear and unwavering loyalty to the United States. Again, promoting life in our community, blood drives. You're part of the community and saving lives. These messages and actions reflect the strength of this community and its commitment to our common humanity. And you do this not because all of the people, Your Holiness, the Ahmadiyya community does this not because all of the people that you serve are Muslim. You do this because you are Muslim.
The truth is that peace and justice are inseparable. You cannot have one without the other. And certainly, this principle is something that all wise and intelligent people understand. Leaving aside those people who are determined to create disorder in the world. No one can ever claim that in any society, country, or even the entire world, there can be disorder or a lack of peace where justice and fair dealing exists.
He preaches a message of love for all, hatred for none. And when Peter Mansbridge spoke with him recently, there was concern that message wasn't being heard.
During this interview, Mansbridge asked Hazrat Amirul Momineen whether the world was at a critical junction in time.
Yes, it seems. Muslim world is disturbed. And now that is spreading, it is going beyond.
Arriving at around 10:30 a.m., Hazur was welcomed by Judy Segro, Member of Parliament for Liberals, the ruling party of Canada.
I would like to draw to the presence of honorable members the presence in the gallery of His Holiness Mirza Masroor Ahmad, head of the worldwide Ahmadiyya Muslim community.
Pleasure to welcome His Holiness to Ottawa. The last time we met was a number of years ago, and I didn't yet occupy this office, but we had wonderful conversations, as we will this time, about the Ahmadi community and the challenges they face and the opportunities to work together on promoting love for all and hatred for none.
Hazrat Amirul Momineen delivered a keynote address at a reception in his honor at Parliament Hill. This event was attended by members of Parliament, ministers, senators, ambassadors, and many other dignitaries. It was also broadcast live on MTA International and streamed online. In his address, Hazur spoke to the audience about the condition of the world and how it is on the brink of a catastrophe.
It is the task of the government and the parliamentarians, as guardians of their nations, to legislate in a way that gives rights to their citizens rather than take their rights away. This should be done across the board, indiscriminately, so that the rights of all people, whether they be Muslims, Christians, Jews, Hindus, Sikhs, or the people of any other belief, including those who are not religious, are upheld and guaranteed at all times, and the means to resolve it become much clearer. At a broader level, the United Nations must also play its role in establishing peace in the world. Our jihad is not a jihad of swords, guns, or bombs. Our jihad is not a jihad of cruelty, brutality, and injustice. Rather, our jihad is of love, mercy, and compassion. Our jihad is of tolerance, justice, and human sympathy. A fundamental and basic teaching of Islam is that a true Muslim is a person from whose tongue and hand all other peaceful people are safe. This is the definition of a Muslim given by the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Another beautiful principle taught by Islam is that peace in society requires one to suppress his anger, rather than allowing it to prevail over principles of honesty and justice. Islam teaches that peace can only be established by helping both the oppressed and oppressor in a manner that is completely impartial, free from vested interests, and devoid of all enmity.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a double honor. We've heard the wonderful words from His Holiness about the message of peace, and I will speak a little bit more about that in 1 second. We have been graced with the presence of the President of the European Parliament, Mr. Martin Schulz, who has come to personally greet His Holiness.
Those messages of peace, of love, of respect towards one another, of reconciliation, these are messages which are especially valuable and serve as a particularly powerful antidote at a time of tension, of a time where We have seen, unfortunately, incidences of violence, of brutality, and of extremism, which play no role in any peace-loving society.
The Muslim community is a true Islamic religious community. Introduced the true and peaceful teachings of Islam. Our sect is the standard bearer for peace, reconciliation, and harmony, which is why our motto is love for all, hatred for none. That we Ahmadi Muslims believe that in this era, the concept of a violent jihad by the sword is completely wrong and is to be rejected. It is an urgent need of the time that in an effort to establish global peace and harmony, all people should display mutual respect.
During these tours, His Holiness has met world leaders from the Far East to Europe, from North America to Africa, discussing the economic, social, and political problems facing the world today, and how to create peace and justice in the world, to share common values and core ideals universal to all religions and cultures, with a view to improving the moral state of mankind and creating an atmosphere of love and affection. From young to old, he compassionately listens to the ordinary man, regardless of race, color, or religion. He has personally initiated social projects and schemes to alleviate poverty and human suffering. His concern is not just about the well-being and moral state of the members of the Ahmadiyya community, but of the great human suffering of mankind at large.
I would like to pay an additional tribute to the work being done by Ahmadis in raising standards in Africa, and particularly in education.
His Holiness has been very kind enough to send us a message to be read out to all of us. So I humbly now, with that singular honor, call upon the National President of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, Mr. Rafiq Ahmed Hayat, to read out the message of His Holiness. Mr. Rafiq Hayat, please.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Your worshipful mayors, your excellencies, your majesty, lords, ladies and gentlemen, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. May peace and blessings of Allah be upon you. It is a pleasure for us to host you all today at this peace symposium that reflects the issue of unity in diversity. Faith is a code of conduct which defines the rules by which you can have a peaceful and harmonious society. It defines the rules at every level, from husband and wife, to family, to society, national and international level. And all the rules are so that you can have peace and harmony in your life. And if we all believe in the same God, it is not possible that the God gave a different message to Prophet Moses, a different message to Prophet Jesus, and a different message to Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon all of them. The fundamental message is the same. That is how we can live in peaceful coexistence, how we give rights to all members of the society. And that can only be based on justice, because without justice, there will be no peace in this world. And unfortunately, what we are finding is that the great powers, they are exploiting the poor countries. And whether it is exploiting them for their resources, whether it is exploiting them for their manpower. And until and unless there is fair play in this world, we will not be able to achieve proper peace in this world. And I feel that it is only faith that can actually bring peace, because fundamental principles of faith are based on morality, on justice and fair play. And no United Nations is going to bring that about. So it is the faith leaders who have to come together and bring this harmony in this world. Now, I know one person who has worked diligently to bring this to all the powers of this earth, and that is His Holiness Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad. You saw a very brief introduction to him before in that video. And His Holiness has traveled the width and breadth of this earth. He's gone to the parliaments of all the Western countries. He's gone to Africa. He's gone to Asia. He's gone to Australia. And his fundamental message is that unless we bring about change, unless we promote justice and equality in this world, we will not be able to achieve peace. Now, we are very fortunate that in spite of his very busy schedule, he has sent a message to us this evening, which I'd like to read to you. And it is to all the attendees of the Pan-African Ahmadiyya Muslim Association UK Peace Symposium, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. May peace and blessings of Allah be upon you. I'm very pleased that the Pan-African Ahmadiyya Muslim Association UK is holding its first ever peace symposium. And I pray that the events prove to be blessed in all respects. I would also like to express my sincere regret that due to certain reasons, I am unable to join you this evening. In today's world, such functions have taken on an even greater importance because the world is passing through a period of increased instability and conflict. And as a result, the peace of the world is lessening day by day. Indeed, it cannot be said that any continent is free from the effect of this growing turmoil. Thus, I pray that Allah the Almighty grants wisdom to the people of the world so that instead of moving rapidly towards destruction and catastrophe, people come to realize the need to step back from the abyss and seek to build bridges of love and peace in the society. However, this will not be possible until all nations and continents, whether it be North or South America, Australia, Europe, Asia, and indeed all of Africa, are willing to work together for the common good of mankind. With the grace of Allah, according to our limited resources, the Ahmadiyya Muslim community is continually engaged in efforts to promote peace in the world and to unite mankind under a banner of love, peace, and harmony. This very fact that the Pan-African Association is holding the Peace Symposium is an indication that upon every possible platform, we are trying to develop peace and are striving to eradicate all forms of hatred and intolerance. The African continent is vast, and its boundaries borders with both Asia and Europe. So it is imperative that the African people realize their great status and importance to the rest of the world. Each African tribe or race, and indeed each individual person, must understand his or her responsibility and duties to their nations and to the wider world. Sadly, even now, much of the world considers African nations as poor, destitute, and without value. However, I firmly believe that Africa has huge potential and great status. Yours is the continent that was ruled by foreign nations for generations and generations, and tragically they plundered Africa of its resources for their own benefit. Thankfully, and with the grace of God, Africa is now free from this colonial past. So it is the obligation of African governments and leaders to ensure that their national resources are utilized in the best possible way in order to benefit their nations and to help them grow and develop. During the colonial era, Africa's oil resources had not been fully revealed, but in recent times, new oil has been discovered, and there is better technology available to extract this natural wealth that God has bestowed upon the African people. It is my prayer that African leaders invest every single penny derived from such wealth for the sake of the development of their nation and to help their people. This should be their objective and mission. Otherwise, whilst your continent may have been liberated from the chains of colonialism, it will continue to remain shackled by the chains of economic slavery. I pray that every African leader works to the best of his or her abilities and considers themselves to be the servant of the nation and consider it is their duty to be the guardians of the future of Africa. I pray that the legacy that bequeath to the future generations is one of peace, prosperity, and sustained development. Similarly, I urge the members of the public to elect leaders who they consider to be the most loyal, faithful, and capable. Furthermore, all people should play their respective roles in helping light the torch for a bright and progressive future for the African continent. Alongside the economic development of your countries, it is essential that you maintain a spirit of peace and brotherhood within your nations and your African neighbors, and in this way, you can set a glorious example of peace for the rest of the world to follow. Tragically, in recent years, some extremist and terrorist groups such as Boko Haram and Al-Shabaab have gained influence in Africa. To eradicate them and to bring an end to their evil, both the African leaders and the people must work together to ensure that their countries develop and progress. In all the dealings, you must show integrity and be justice so that people do not become frustrated, as it is frustration that invariably makes people vulnerable to radicalization. May Allah the Almighty bless the African continent in all respects, and may your nation remain free of all forms of slavery or colonialism forevermore. Rather than come under the rule of others, I hope and pray that Africa comes to lead the world, inshallah. Once again, I pray that the events of this event is blessed in all respects. Long live Africa. Wassalam, Mirza Masroor Ahmad, Khalifatul Masih V.
We now move on to the speeches for tonight. Our first speaker for tonight is the Mayor of Merton.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure being here to speak on peace. My take on peace is that it seems like more a society advances, less peace there seems to be. There is noise everywhere. Gone are the days of just sitting under a tree and thinking about life. There's Twitter feeds to look at, Facebook statuses to update, videos to take and upload on YouTube, drama to indulge in, gossip to listen to and spread, advertising bombarding us everywhere. It seems like we are saturated in figurative and literal noise all the time. We do not have time for acceptance, compassion, and tolerance, which are the foundation of peace. Mahatma Gandhi showed that peace ends suffering and oppression, not by warring against an enemy, but by bearing witness to wrongs and allowing sympathy and common humanity to do their patent work. Nelson Mandela and Mother Teresa lived different lives and showed different aspects of peace, which was proven to be viable ways to achieve great things. The need to secure peace by controlling these evils existing today among us, example, bombings and terrorist attacks on innocent people, continues to be a primary aim of the international community. Crises have been repeatedly coming, and these are bound to keep coming. This makes it very urgent for us, mankind, to prepare and act for managing crises through collective efforts and by the use of several devices.
Lord Ahmad of Wimbledon, and also Minister of State for Foreign and Commonwealth Office, Rafiq Ahmad Hayat, President of Ahmadiyya Muslim Community UK, and all protocols observed. I'm delighted to be attending this event with you, which was well organized the way I see it. When I received the invitation letter, I told my PA confirm my attendance, and I'm here together with you. I'm very grateful for the organization, Ahmadiyya Muslim Community, for the great job that they are doing in my country. They are building schools, hospitals, radio stations, and they are installing solar panels in a number of schools and health centers in Uganda, all geared towards promoting good relationship and peace amongst humanity in Uganda. I thank you for listening to me. Thank you.
It is with great pleasure that I stand here in place of the High Commissioner of the Republic of Ghana to the United Kingdom, His Excellency Papa Owusu Nkrumah, who unfortunately could not be here tonight. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of His Excellency, I bring you greetings from the government and people of Ghana. I wish to take this opportunity to acknowledge the good works being done in my country, Ghana, by the Ahmadiyya Muslim Mission in the areas of education, health, agriculture, provision of social amenities, as well as moral and spiritual guidance in the country. Indeed, many of the mission's projects were accomplished under the leadership and guidance of His Holiness during his over 8 years in Ghana as the Ahmadiyya Muslim community's missionary in the country. Mr. Chairman, many Ghanaians remember His Holiness at different times as the headmaster of the T.I. Ahmadiyya Secondary School at Salaga in the northern region and central regions of Ghana, respectively, and also as the manager of the Ahmadiyya Agricultural Farm in the northern region, Ghana. We appreciate your personal contribution to our beloved country's developmental efforts. The theme for tonight's symposium, as Unity in Diversity, is appropriate for the prevailing times in the world today and reflects the values that the Ahmadiyya Muslim community has been preaching this past century. That though we might come from different backgrounds, we can and must unite around the principles of peace, justice, tolerance, and love. These values are of the highest calling, regardless of our culture or social standing.
I now have the singular honor and pleasure of inviting Lord Ahmed to deliver his keynote address.
Auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. I seek refuge from Satan the accursed, in the name of God, the gracious, most merciful. Respected Amir Sahib, Your Worshipful, the Mayor of Merton, Mayor of Runnymede, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and good evening. It's an immense pleasure for me to be addressing this incredible event this evening. As someone of faith, promoting the right of freedom of religion or belief is particularly important to me. The Holy Quran, the sacred scripture for Muslims around the world, talks of there being no compulsion in religion. The holy founder of Islam, Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, spoke where he said, "Be kind, for whenever kindness becomes part of something, it beautifies it. And none of us," he wrote, "none of us truly will believe until we wish for others what we wish for ourselves." Prophet Jesus talked to others that he preached to when he talked of honoring all people. And when he talked of humanity, he said most poignantly, "Be of one accord, be of one mind." And indeed, the founder of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, the renaissance of Islam, put down very poignant words when he was speaking passionately and poignantly about humanity. Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad said, and I quote, "I proclaim to all Muslims, Hindus and Aryas," indeed he referred to people of all faiths, "that I have no enemy in the world. I love mankind with the love that a compassionate mother has for her child, even more so. I am only the enemy of false doctrines that kill the truth. Human sympathy is my duty." It is those words that resonate here in this evening, that resonate across this mosque, across the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. That renaissance of Islam instills, no matter what capacity we serve in, where we are, to ensure that the service to humanity, that human sympathy, is at the heart and core of everything we do. In concluding, it's often talked about that different people have different perspectives. What shapes your thinking? What shapes your mind? I was very fortunate. I was born into the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, the religion of Islam, the community of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, part and parcel of my identity. True as it was when I was born, true as it is to this living day. And through that community, through what we learnt, where people around you, as we often refer to them, as often my friends say, you have so many uncles and aunties, one can lose count. But that's how we perceived it, the love and affection of people who were there looking out for you. But ultimately, when we look at unity, a child looks towards their home. I was fortunate to have incredible parents. And I remember once, on returning home, I went to a school just not far from here, primary school, called Holy Trinity. Perhaps the name's a bit of a giveaway. It was a Church of England school. We were studying Judaism. I was Muslim. I returned home somewhat confused. My mother, as only mothers know best, sat me down and I said, "Ammi, mother in Urdu, I don't quite understand. We've got all these different religions." She gave me something to eat. That's always a good sign from a mother. Give them something to chew on. And then she gave me food for thought. She said, "Beta," which means son. When we build a house, we lay the foundation of the house. You know, I was about 8 or 9, I got that. She said, after we lay the foundation of that house, we build the walls. Got that as well. I was living in a house, so I got what walls meant. And after we build those walls, we put on the roof to complete that house. I got that analogy. She said, from our perspective as Muslims, we regard this as the house of Abraham. The foundations are Judaism. Without the strength of those foundations, the walls of Christianity could not have been erected. And without those walls of Christianity, the roof of Islam would not have completed the house of Abraham. The other windows and doors represent other faiths and communities, but also a reflection that if we are to find true unity of purpose. We recognize the diversity by looking, yes, inwards at ourselves, but outwards to the world. And ultimately, we are one family. For a young 8 or 9-year-old boy, that embedded in me what I saw in my home, what I saw in my community. And yes, I can proudly say, those same values, those same attributes instilled in me at home, through my community, through my faith. I'm proud to see that unity of purposes, that celebration of diversity, standing together, is a proud reflection of our shared values in our great country. Thank you very much.
Peace is what we all have to strive for, because without it, we're nowhere. As one of the ladies said, you know, we're all human beings, and the humans need humans. We all need each other. Nobody's better than anybody else. Once we get that into our heads, we'll be able to live happily together.
I'm very happy to associate with this organization. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community is doing a great job in my country, Uganda. And as a representative of the people of Uganda in UK, I can only say thank you.
Today's event is brilliant. I think the world at the moment, with how things are going, we need a lot of events like this to remind humanity where we are, who we are, and just to remind everybody about the importance of peace. Peace is what we need in the world to sustain us.
It's been very inspiring. It's been reinvigorating to hear the messages that have been, mentioned here today, which is basically about peace. And I think it's coming at a very opportune time when you consider the happenings around the world. The world is facing a lot of instability at the moment, and to have that message of peace re-emphasized from various quarters, I think is very encouraging and very important.
Whilst we come from different countries within Africa, and whilst we may look the same, there are a lot of differences amongst us. But we, internally, we appreciate the differences that we have, and we want to work together. Even though we may have been divided by colonialism, it's now time that as Africans we come together, not only as a nation, but as a continent. So I think today, being the first African Peace Symposium, I think it's extremely important in bringing people together, because Africa is the center of the world, and I think we need to show the external, world, other global countries, that if we in Africa can come together, if we were once divided, we can now come together.